All I'm saying is, out of all the TV shows we ever watched growing up, all the episodes, there was always that episode where somebody's long lost dad shows up, pulls a
Mhm.
con, and turns out it's not his dad or the person's dad. So I think that really kind of made that episode with Fred Astaire a little bit refreshing.
Hmm. Probably. Um, well, I have to give it to you. It's at least more refreshing than the episode we're reviewing tonight.
Who calls me from out of the pit?
I've got a confession to make. I've always loved the freshness of Tic Tac, but when Sugar Freeze came along, I figured I'd give up some of that freshness to get fewer calories. Know what? I was wrong. Sugar-free mints aren't lower in calories. They have 7, even 9 calories per mint, and a Tic Tac has just 1.5. So I'm staying with Tic Tac, because to get fewer calories, I don't have to give up taste or freshness or nothing. Tic Tac, the 1.5 calorie breath mint.
Welcome to the return of the son of the show. We're back to Battlestar Galactica.
For a special 2-hour presentation known as Greetings from Earth. An alien spacecraft is discovered by Starbuck and Apollo on patrol. It contains 6 human fugitives in suspended animation, possibly from the planet Earth. Tension amongst the fleet at the prospect of brethren from Earth rises. In time, the humans are revealed to be from Terra, a colonial-like world. They are journeying to Paradine, a nearby colony world, to escape the threat of the Eastern Alliance, a Terran faction with a ruthlessness akin to the Cylons. Starbuck, Cassiopeia, and Apollo finish the journey with the Terrans, hoping to find clues to the location of Earth. But the Eastern Alliance pursues the ship to Paradine, where more troubles ensue.
That sounds really good on paper.
Yeah, that sounds like a great episode.
Yeah, and
It does. It really does. And for the first half an hour, I thought it was a great episode.
and then the other hour and a half happened.
Yes.
Who's in this episode?
Well, let's start with the regular cast.
Mhm.
So we get Starbuck, Apollo, we get Cassiopeia, we get Adama. We actually get a lot of people on board the Galactica.
Mhm,
Everyone's arguing and fighting. So Boomer
Yep.
Talk, everyone has something to
Yep.
say. Even good old Jolly
Good old Jolly gets some screen time.
So I think more important to focus on tonight are our all important Love Boat guest stars. So we have the talented song and dance man Ray Bolger as the android Vector.
Who I thought was the Tin Man at first.
Right, but he's not.
He's not.
But he's clearly got the nose painted
Yes.
to make you realize he's the Scarecrow. From
Yes.
Wizard of Oz. Hence our Wizard of Oz homage. Then we have Bobby Van playing his constructed son android Hector. Bobby Van being also a song and dance man
Yeah.
who was a game show host in the 70s.
Yep. As was everyone
As was
in the
everyone.
70s.
Yes. Well, then we have Kelly Harmon as Sarah,
from the Tic Tac commercial fame.
and sister of Mark Harmon of NCIS and St. Elsewhere fame.
And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah. And then Lloyd Bachner as Leiter, the Nazi-like captain of the Eastern Alliance ship, who we know from as the voice of Mayor Hill in Batman the Animated Series. And then finally, interestingly enough, in this book, they call him Randy Mantooth, which, okay, but he was Randolph Mantooth playing Michael. Randolph Mantooth, of course, the preeminent actor and co-star in Emergency and Emergency 51, my fiance's crush as a young girl.
doing his best Keanu Reeves
Yes,
with
I thought that too.
with an Oscar Wilde hairdo.
Yes, I thought very much that he
It's
was
like,
acting like Keanu
gosh,
Reeves.
you need to go over here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, totally. Randolph Manchu
Napoleon
completely
Dynamite.
wasted in this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
Um,
This episode was pretty much wasted on this episode.
this episode.
The Space Cowboy episode is no longer the worst.
No, this by far is the worst episode.
And and last week's episode's looking pretty good now.
Yeah, yeah, he can be Starbucks mom for all I care now because that at least had a plot. I mean, as a kid, I remember it as two separate episodes. I guess I remember the Eastern Alliance ship, which I thought was really cool. Although now, as an adult, I realize it's just an F-14 Tomcat model with a front end with a Klingon.
It
front end
still looks cool.
It still looks neat though. It's a neat, So I like the Eastern Alliance aesthetic, but the ship only. Not
you might want to rephrase how.
Hold on.
The Eastern Alliance has had a lot of good ideas. This episode is so bad, we're having a hard time staying on point. So let's try to focus.
So I remember the ship, which I thought was cool. I remember as a kid thinking it was cool that they might have discovered Earth. Then somewhere in my memory, I remembered the horrible Vector and Hector, which I hated as a kid, not realizing that they were all enmeshed in this one glorious turd of an episode.
Was this a planned episode for the one?
It had to be. It's a Glenn A. Larson, written by him. It's a 2-hour special, 2-hour presentation.
What were you thinking?
Well, this is it. You know what this is? This episode to me is like watching the Star Wars Episode 1 trailer, where it's like, oh my God, wow, this is so cool, everything's, and then you go see the movie. And this is like that. This is where I remember the cool ship, and they're meeting people from Earth, and it starts out kind of cool. We get a little bit of Star Trek Botany Bay, Space Seed. They discover the astronauts, apparently, who you think they're just in cryogenic freeze, and they're traveling through the stars like the Swiss Family Robinson. So a little bit of Lost in Space. So I liked that. At first, I liked the fact that it was a moral argument that everyone was philosophically debating about what to do. For about 5 minutes is all they needed to do that for.
I hated that aspect.
Okay.
Because they have no problem with doing anything to anything else, but suddenly because this one might be from Earth. They had maybe they should have thought this before.
Yeah.
Like, what are we gonna do if we run into anybody from Earth?
Right.
Well, let's set up these protocols and let's have this discussion and lay out these bylaws. And obviously, they don't share the whole
Prime Directive.
Getting to your Star Trek, the needs of the many,
right? Except for Jesus Apollo, or whatever, or I don't know what it is in Mormon.
If you know what it is in Mormon, let us know in the comments below.
So at first, I for the first few minutes of the debate, I thought it was interesting. We gotta put them in. We're all excited. Everyone wants them. Let's wake them up. We can't. They might contaminate us. We might contaminate them. And then they stretched it out for like 40 minutes of arguing.
This was
everybody had to argue. Everyone in the cast had to argue.
Yeah, even people who were never in the cast before.
Correct. So we get that scientist who was an episode. He comes back. He's arguing with the doctor. We get Boomer arguing with Apollo and Starbuck. We get Glenn A. Larson out. I don't know what you were doing, but we get Apollo written as Starbuck in the first half, and then Starbuck written as Apollo in the second half.
Yeah.
The total mix up of their two characters.
I mean, Starbuck is like talking all this like we should be brothers, need to get along and all. And it's the thin air.
Yes.
That's the only thing I can chalk it up to. The thin air is what, because on this planet apparently the air is thinner than what the Galactica can breathe, so they get lightheaded easy. Yeah. That's what I'm going to chalk it up to.
This episode could have been a half an hour episode.
They could have sheared it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or done like a montage. So go across the fleet,
mhm,
have like a snippet of arguing between people to show everyone's angry, and then the quorum shows up to making demands. It could have taken 2 minutes. Um, and or make the whole episode about that. Do a Star Trek, like let's have a really deep philosophical argument about what to do with refugees. But as we are also refugees. But no. So the first half was this deep, philosophical argument, lots of anger. They basically, Apollo and Starbuck agree to mutiny. I think mutiny against who though? So technically, they're doing what Adama wants. So who are they mutinying
the
against?
Council of 12.
But that's not a mutiny. They're not military. So technically, they would be a not a mutiny. It would be a treason. They're committing treason.
Sure.
So anyway,
treason sounds better.
well, they make a big deal about the fact that one's the military, one's the
Yeah.
civilian.
Yeah.
Which is the first time since the pilot, since we've had that, where the clearly there's a line drawn between the military. Although Adama seems to also be messianic in some way, so he's religious and military. But I mean, God knows having a religious leader is your political leader. I mean, jeez. Anyway,
Nothing bad could happen there.
No. And then we get to the planet Paradine, and we get we get the Donny Osmond variety show. I mean,
there were even like stairs that the kids would sit on.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It basically turned into a 70s variety show.
So Glenn Larson saw the Donnie Marie Star Wars special.
Yes.
And said, "Hold my beer."
Right. Yes, exactly. Yes. I mean, okay, you've got Ray Bolger. Great. You dress him up in makeup reminiscent of the Scarecrow.
Even the nose.
Even the nose, yeah. But I think you said it while we were watching it. The total tonal shift between episode from part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like you were on a really cheap roller coaster at a really bad carnival that's about ready to break loose. I mean, just the writing got so bad in the second half.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It might not have been as jarring if it would have broken into 2 episodes on disc, but they were fused together on the disc.
Yeah.
So it was like such a shift,
painful episode
with just okay. Before I forget,
yes.
Does everybody speak space English?
Apparently so.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
There is no,
but now when it comes to mathematics,
so I guess it's sort of they encounter space Canadians because they're using kilometer, and they're the colonies only use the King's.
That's right.
Measurements.
I mean, it could account for Mantooth's acting.
Man,
or her acting.
Well, all right. Now look, Randolph Mantooth is a fine actor. If you watch Emergency, it's a fine show. Fine show. We all debate me in the comments. Debate me in the comments. Emergency 51 and Emergency, fantastic show. But anyway, Randolph Mantooth, a key,
especially the one where the kid ate the bowl full of like unrisen dough.
Clearly, she can only be in commercials because she could not. Apparently, Mark Harmon got all the acting genes in the family because she can't act.
I mean, maybe she got better. I just when we were trying to figure out who the heck she was, and you're like, oh, she's a Tic Tac girl, and that's who she is, the Tic Tac girl.
But we go from like all these deep philosophical arguments, and everyone spouting philosophy, to her pouting and stomping her feet because she's not in love with Randolph Mantooth, and she was forced. The father brought them together to bring out to the farmland, and then she's pouting because her daddy died.
Yeah,
but not like a mature, sad reaction. She literally is stomping her feet. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
What if her suspension animation tube was damaged?
Maybe
she was actually like a child.
Oh, right.
And she kind of grew up, but not mentally.
Correct.
So like Mantooth's like child bride is actually a child.
That's true.
Which would account for her irrational behavior.
Correct. Something.
Again, here we are. You got your big break. Battlestar Galactica. It's fairly popular. you get cast in it, just like poor Boomer. You're like, yes, I'm a woman in the 70s. I get
Yes.
to be on this popular TV show.
Yep.
Oh, but you're in love with a boy. Oh,
Yeah.
for shit's sake.
Well, that and the fact that it becomes a plot point.
Hmm.
Let me come back to the original puppet. It becomes a plot point, an important plot point that Apollo and Starbuck and Cassiopeia figure out how to bring them together.
Yeah.
So they use Cassiopeia, who we remind you was a.
We like to call them social waiters.
Oh, I'm sorry. They basically tell her, "Well, we know you're med tech, and we brought you along with because you suddenly have as much medical knowledge."
I told you she was working her way through medical school.
Whatever. But then Apollo just like reduces her back to you go ahead and you stay with Mantooth
Yes.
because to make her jealous.
Yes, Nurse Goodbody, go over there and make her jealous.
Yeah.
By coming
And
up with Mantooth.
and the girl falls for it. Oh God.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. And then again, none of the characters were written true to their past episodes. So we get Apollo, who, they in the first half is Space Jesus. He these 6 people
Yes.
shall not be sacrificed for the many. We cannot do that. We must think of the morals. And he's walking around proselytizing to suddenly, and this is the man who just has been falling in love with Sheba.
Yeah.
Poor Sheba from the Pegasus. Within 2 seconds, he's already thinking about staying with this woman.
Well, maybe
I know the way you've been looking at me. I think maybe I could stay here. I don't know.
What do they call that? When you're like attracted to intelligence, is that sapphic? Sapphic?
Maybe.
Hey,
Yeah.
in the comments, let us know. What if that's what he is? And like, because we all know that Sheba gets pretty dumb in the last episode.
That's true.
So maybe he's like, oh, maybe this one's smart. Oh,
Right.
nope, she's not.
No.
I don't know.
Maybe that's true because his wife was smart.
Yeah.
I mean, she's Jane Seymour.
Jane Seymour.
But it just bothered me that his tonal shift and just suddenly he's attracted to her.
Yeah.
Like, well, we're gonna have to make him more single now. And I notice also Cassiopeia says that she's definitely single. So were they like, well, we got to make sure the 2 leads are single so that they can have the woman of the week. Each one can have a woman of the week because that's what it felt like it was developing into.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And then we get Starbuck talking like Apollo in the city.
Yeah.
So
like I said, I'm blaming the thin air.
Yeah, it just and then
This is where this plot came from.
And then we get like each plot point is so disjointed. So we get the stupid androids, which totally throws off and their stupid musical interlude.
Now, you know how much I love musicals.
Yes.
I love musicals.
Yes.
I did not love that. That was so like
But you don't have Nazis in a musical.
let's see. He hates the musical that has Nazis in it. Probably because it portrays Nazis in a negative way. He thinks the Eastern
The ship. The ship. And then we get Sarah destroying the ship so that Apollo can't leave so she can seduce him. Why did it become like it goes from this philosophical debate on human life versus knowledge and saving ourselves to a high school drama? I mean,
it's like, Apollo is like, I actually like he was worried about these people. They kind of deserve to just leave them on this damn planet.
Right.
Turn their spaceship loose.
Well, and then he like the one part where to show off how much more powerful his gun is, he blows up their supplies. Here they are.
Yeah.
Trying to sustain a farm. He could have shot a tree.
Yep.
He could have shot a hole in the ground.
He could have shot one of the robots.
Yeah, God, that would
shoot the Hector. Vector.
Yeah, I am poorly built anyway. But
thank you, sir.
Thank you. And then the other part is then we get the subplot of the Morlands, the next door neighbors that were borrowed from Dallas.
That's like a like in a sitcom thing, the busybody neighbors next door, the Morlands.
The Morlands.
And when they first start talking about them, we're like, Morlands, Morlocks, what are they doing here? That's
nothing. It's just a throwaway.
They're just the Morlands.
The Morlands.
Like the Furleys or
And then the one guy has been loaned out to them as the caretaker of the records place in the city, even though the android said no human's been able to go down there because the air is too poisonous to breathe. And then we have that whole subplot of going in the city, and they gain nothing from it.
They don't get diddly squat out of that.
No, it's a whole wasted
okay. In the end, okay, have them be like, have the story, instead of doing the whole silly thing they do at the end, have it end like in the subterranean, the underground stuff, and like have them find something about Earth.
Correct.
So that the title "Greetings from Earth" makes sense.
Right. Right. Or explain as this, little synopsis does. Right, they could go down there and they figure out, whoa, wait, Terra, you aren't Earth, you are an offshoot of Earth.
Yes. Maybe the greetings from Earth thing is because as we discovered, the spaceship they were on was a holdover from Buck Rogers.
That's right. Yes,
they just repainted it
orange. Yes, it was the what is it, Ranger 7?
I think so.
Yeah.
They could have made it better with you got that cool green, Eastern Alliance ship, we're the most powerful force in the galaxy. And then, like, the Galactica's cloaking device comes off, just, over top of them, Then Adama's up there, greetings from Earth.
Fleeing from the tyranny of Season 3 of The Bionic Woman, the return of the son of the show leads a ragtag group of reviewers on a lonely quest. A shiningly good episode of Battlestar Galactica.
WRIF, Detroit's home of rock and roll. Rocks you in your car, at work, at home. WRIF. It'll make you wanna.
KC, Ken Calvert with you on WRIF. Arthur Penhallow, commercial free on the home of rock and roll.
Ooh, you have a remarkable mouth.
WRIF is a remarkable radio station.
Baby.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah. But that's good. We're allowed to be angry.